All right, all right. How's it going, everybody? John here again with the Photo Booth Talk Show, shooting now episode 3. Again, my name is John. I'm here with Ray, Carlos, and we have a special guest today, Jonathan.
What's going on, brother?
Jonathan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, you guys? I'm Jonathan Martinez from Be the Light Creatives.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining us. We wanted to bring in a special guest today in this episode and share his experience throughout the industry as far as photo booths, 360s, rentals, applications that he's all been into. So, it's going to be an exciting episode. Thank you guys in for tuning in. And
Yeah, so let's talk about how did we come about? How did we create?
How did you guys meet?
How did we create this bond that we have now?
It's a deep bond, Carlos. I think where most people meet is events, right?
Right.
Activations itself. I think we were in Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
Hollywood Hills.
Oh,
somewhere like
nice.
that.
Nice.
Yeah, we were up in some bougie place,
Nice.
of course. But Carlos, he saw me spinning, and first words out of his mouth were, you bought this from Ken and Pia, didn't you? shout out Ken and Pia.
Yeah.
Shout out Ken and Pia.
Kenneth's from Spin Pigs, one of our dealers over at RevoSpin. So,
Yo, he's a homie. Go see him.
yeah, they're good peeps for sure.
So he identified that. I looked at him like, yeah, I did. And he's like, yeah, well, no, I work with RevoSpin and we're familiar with them and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know what? You're my new best friend. Let's talk. I have questions. I have ideas. I have things I want to do. Like, I want to be linked up with Revo for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. And then at that event, you were actually using our software too, right?
I was using your software, yeah.
Nice.
And so just, man, talk about providential, right? Like real-time moment. I had questions about the app, there
Right.
was an update that day and some things were a little bit interesting to me. I was like, well, where did that go? And so Carlos was right there ready to give me some answers. So I want to take him to every event now.
Good old Carlos. Carlos is like, he's so scattered. He's always at different events. And
But he's always in the know.
yeah,
So,
He's a good person to know.
he's like that girl that you take with you everywhere you go.
I don't know what that means exactly, but I'll take it.
I think that's a compliment.
I'm gonna stay away from that one.
Take it as a compliment.
I'll take it as a compliment. So yeah, let's get a little into what you were doing prior to having your 360, and then what were you doing, and how you got into the event industry.
For sure, man. Yeah, I mean, I've always been in events, for the last decade or so. But even prior to that, I think I did what everybody that didn't want like a 9 to 5 did, right? Like
Right.
some form of service industry, right? So I was in food. I did coffee shops. I did restaurants. I did all that typical stuff, right? But there was a particular restaurant in Hollywood that I used to manage, and it was right there on Sunset and Vine. And as a manager, they told me, you know what? If you increase sales, you'll bonus.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I realized, okay, like it's on me to be able to maximize that.
Yeah.
So what did I start doing? I said, this is Hollywood. How hard
Right.
is it to have people come to a party, wherever it is? So I would just start throwing parties in the restaurant, right? Didn't matter what it is. I had studios there. I had radio stations down the way. So I would go hit them up and I'd say, hey, bring your brand here, throw an event here. I'll provide the food. Like, you just get people here and bring exposure and promotion to, social media was blowing up at that time.
Right.
There was no TikTok, but there was Twitter and there was Instagram and Facebook. So you blast that out there and you get people to come out, right? So that, like, when those events would come together and they would work, I fell in love with that feeling of providing a space for people to come together and have a great time. So as I realized that I wasn't cut out to be, a restaurant manager or a cook or anything like that, that wasn't my passion. What my passion was that feeling, that joy you get with people, right? So what I started doing was I just started getting to events, right? So I started doing a little coffee bar, food bar, whatever it was, right? That was okay. Fast forward a few more years after that, and then I started getting paid to do bigger events, right? They would hire me to do the full activation, the full event, and so I would start needing partners for that, different vendors. And in the last couple of years, I started making contacts with other people that had 360 platforms themselves. And what I was seeing in the parties was there could be a dance floor and there could be a 360, and more times than not, there was more people at the 360
Yeah.
getting ready to hop on
Right.
than down on the dance floor.
For sure.
And to me, I saw that as like a huge light bulb that went off. And so I said, at some point, like, I need to get that. I need to get my hands on one. So that's kind of how it went down. I fell in love with the experience overall itself that it provided. And I really enjoyed the fact that I'm not having to carry around a photo strip necessarily or a postcard. Like I literally get that thing on my phone right away,
Right.
and it's ready to go on my social media within
Right.
2 minutes. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's all of that. It's the fact that it's the experience there at the event, and it's the fact that the people that couldn't come to the party get to see that experience on my Instagram in 5 minutes,
Right.
and the next time they're gonna want to come out.
Yeah, it's amazing. You have that creativity. You know what I mean? That's really an advantage for you. But for some of the people that doesn't know what activation means, can you kind of elaborate what activation is all about? Because I'm not familiar with my understanding of activation is a different type of setup that is catered to a brand. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think an activation is what you make of it in terms of what you're trying to accomplish at a particular event, right? So there's a party where you're celebrating something, right? But then there's activations that bring visibility and exposure or an awareness to a particular thing. Anything from a benefit, a charity, something like that, to a product that's being launched, to a person that has a new project coming out, right?
Oh.
So I'll work with partners that they might be athletes or they might be actresses or just different people, and they've taken their personal brand and they've then turned that into a side project where they're launching a fashion line or a fragrance, or they're launching different products and they want to bring visibility to that. So then they throw an event and we put a whole experience together where the 360 comes into play.
Where you activate a few different things, including the
Mhm.
360, whether you're bringing a DJ service, balloon service, anything of that. That's all within the activation, huh?
Correct. Yep.
Nice.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
How do you charge for the activation?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think for me is look, there's a philosophy to basically not over customize, right? You can't be bending over backwards for every single person that comes your way. But I do
No.
think that you also should first understand like what the limit to your flexibility is. But if you're willing to be flexible and you're willing to adjust and willing to make that part of your brand
Mhm.
and get good at it and understand like what your thresholds are, then your ability to have more on your shoulders grows, right? So the way that I charge for that typically depends on how they're coming to me, right? There are some that say, look, this is our budget, this is the day that we want to have 250 people or 100 people, and I need to do these different things. This is what we have the overall vision of for the event is. What can we do with that? Right. So then I start going, okay, well, how much time am I going to spend on that? What does that look like from beginning to end? Like, all of that. And then I start stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. So it could be a quarter of the way in before I really start to realize, how much money I'm going to make on something or what that budget is going to stretch out to be.
Yeah.
But then that's also how I know to be creative, right? I try to build relationships with enough partners so that if someone's coming in and helping me out on this one, the next one, I'm going to make sure they get paid. And vice versa. And there's a rotation of that so that we're all playing friendly, so that we're all understanding that I'm trying to look out for them as well.
So asking the right questions is where it leads you there, right?
You have to over communicate. You have to
Yeah.
over ask questions. The thing for me is I'm the type of person where it's like I would rather have the unsettling feeling of bugging you to at least have the clarity versus feeling unsettled in the fact that like I don't know what exactly you're gonna want, and am I actually accomplishing what your vision is? And like I rather just know. Let me ask you,
Bro, that's deep. Yeah,
otherwise I'm not your guy.
a lot of people are stuck with that.
Yeah.
They become shy or embarrassed, or like you said, it's very unsettling. And it's just for me, it's the same way. What do I got to lose? You know what I mean? Just ask the question. What's
Well,
the
do you
worst that
want it
can
done
happen?
right? I mean, do you want it done right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
For me, it's just like straight up. This is exactly. I need you to communicate with me.
Whenever I'm doing something, I always ask the questions. It's always about asking the right questions that are pertaining to what the actual goal is. Like if somebody came to me, when I used to rent photo booth and somebody came to me, I never give out the price right away. I always let them talk. You know what I mean? Tell me about the events. What is it about? Who is it for? Oh, how special? I didn't realize. How old is she? Your dog? Like I really make a big deal and emphasize on what they care the most. It's not about me. It's about them. You know what I mean? They're having this event for one reason. It's that particular reason. I've done some corporate events myself, like Coachella and other events out there. I never know the difference between corporate events and activations. I had to ask that question because there were people that were asking me, hey, Ray, when you were renting photo booths, were you doing some activations? And I go, I don't even know what that is.
Sure.
And I go, I think I did.
I mean, good for you for being honest.
Yeah. But when somebody says, what are your biggest events that you've done? I said, I would say Coachella.
Sure.
But recently, EDC.
Right.
I mean, they'll pay up to $75,000 on a pop like that.
Sure. Call me next time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But those are, to me, those are by definition, those are corporate events.
Sure.
They where it gets mixed up for me with corporates and activation is because, from my understanding, activation is more of a branding pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that corporate also? The reason why a lot of corporate hires you is because they want to expand their brand.
Sure. I think that these days it's all semantics also. So some people are going to call it a corporate event. Some people are going to call it an activation. At the end of the day, I'm trying to reach for all of those things, right? Like you can have your corporate event, but while you're at your corporate event, I'm going to also think about how you're branding things, right? Like here, we're about to begin. One of the first questions before we even started recording was, can you take a picture of me? Because although we're talking about doing this, the podcast, I'm also thinking about, I'm going to share this to my people and I'm going to let them know, like, hey, be on the lookout for this because it's coming. Because that's I try to share what I'm doing, not every day. And I'm not taking pictures of my food, but I try to share what I feel people will be,
or what's going on.
engaged,
Right.
For
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There is, I guess it's a thin line. There's a lot of corporate events and activations. I look at everybody that has purchased a 360 photo booth from us or a regular photo booth, and it's interesting how everybody's doing the same weddings, the same quinceañeras and bar mitzvahs, and you are bound to cross one another. You know what I mean? And the initial reaction when that happens is the price. It just everybody races down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it dilutes the whole entire value of that event.
100%.
And I think the reason why is because everyone is so focused on the easy things. You know what I mean? They're so afraid to go after the good stuff. I call it the good stuff, but there's a reason why it's a good stuff. There's a reason why they're paying a lot of money. It's because it's not an easy thing to get. You know what I mean? Nothing easy will always fall into your lap.
Right.
You got the birthdays, the weddings. Those they'll come call you. They'll call you.
Right.
And they'll ask for a price.
Right.
But to be able to do an event for Honda or Toyota or the big corporate guys, that's a whole different ballgame. And I think people just need to take a chance.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? When I have a friend who works in a marketing agency, I think me and Carlos know this guy. One time he says, Ray, you know how much this car dealership spends on marketing and advertising? I said, no clue. Tell me. He goes, they do about $70,000 a month, and that includes the radio station and some flyers.
Dang.
I said, shit, man.
Yeah.
I want that.
Right.
I can do better than those. And we did it. I wanted to see what we could do, and we went after Honda.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I don't mind the birthday parties. I don't mind the smaller events. But you're right. There's something about a brand, a well-established brand,
The larger scale, right?
Mhm.
that put their respect on you, that put their money on you, and for you to be able to receive that inspires you more. I mean, it does me at least, and I'm sure it does you,
For me, it's
right?
more of a challenge, whether or not I can do what they're doing. What would it take? Like the first time I did it was, as simple as Toyota. I came in there knocking on. It's like literally cold calls, and I knew right away I was messing up. I didn't know what to say. I didn't even came in prepared. And I realized that, oh man, I'm just gonna get ignored. It was a long shot. You know what I mean? But I did it because I needed to fail. I needed to know what I'm doing wrong. I needed to understand what they're looking for, in order for me to achieve this. And my second time around, we went with Honda, and I remember calling John. I go, I think I got it. And he's like, yeah, what's up? So I got to talk to the main guy that's in charge of doing this event, and I pitched him what I can do for his brand.
Right.
I pitched him. I think I opened up my line with, how would it feel if I can get a lot of the locals here in your area to notice your brand, to be able to, when they're thinking about cars, they're thinking about you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had to create a hook that'll pique his interest and at least entertain the thought of talking to me.
Right.
And
But you spoke to the same emotion that people would get off of the experience of a 360, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because what you're really trying to do is connect an emotional aspect, an emotional component to the brand.
yeah.
And you resonated with him on that without the platform even being there.
Right. I had to visualize. Well, in order for me to create that visualizations, I needed him to tell me the story of how this whole thing works. What's their busiest day? He tells me, Saturdays are our busiest day. We have a lot of people in here. And I said, what would it mean to you if I can get their data information? What would it mean to you if I can get your logo in every one of these guys' Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it? What would it mean to you? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I started asking him, and I started painting the pictures of what would it mean in terms of that brand blowing up. And I can do that for you for X amount of dollars. But I didn't play it cool in a sense where it's going to be cheap. I made it seem like it wasn't expensive so that I can also understand what their budgeting this thing is. What room do they have for us? You know what I mean? But I think for me, it was, the complicated part was not knowing what to say and not understanding enough of what they're trying to accomplish as a brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I had to learn that. I mean, is that the same type of experience that you have when you're trying to achieve these activations?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first time I had conversations with some of these people, I was still with the mentality of the money I had in my account, not what they have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think you can say that about just general business, negotiating and all that philosophy. But like for me, yeah, absolutely. Because I think I was still understanding the value of what I had. Sometimes, I mean, I had no experience prior to that. So when I had it finally in my hands, I was like, okay, well, I know that I have a tool. I know that I have something that can open some doors. I know that I have something that's super creative and engaging. But I think until I got the reps in and I started doing events and I started realizing how much work goes into it, I started realizing what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what type of clientele I wanted, what type of people do I want on this thing. I mean, you can take this to a lot of different places.
There is.
That's how you establish
Yeah.
your advantage amongst the rest, amongst how you separate yourself from the rest too, right? How
Absolutely.
you're able to gather these people's attention. Like, hey, go with me because this, and that.
Right.
It's important when putting yourself out there. When touching on that subject is getting yourself out there, explaining to these corporate or even smaller events, getting their attention and having them come to you. With the experience that you're able to provide with them.
No, absolutely.
That's always important.
No, it's absolutely right. And I think for me, I wanted to be able to continue to offer value for the tools that I have, right? And this was a game changer in that regard.
Yeah.
It like I said, it provided instant visibility for the things that they wanted visible. You know what I mean? Whether it's the event or whether it's the brand or whether it's just people having a good time and I want to follow them and help them raise their engagement on their platforms, their digital platform, should I say. Like it doesn't matter. This was a tool for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very informative. I mean, I've always, like I said, I've never know how to answer questions like that. Hey, do you do activations? Do you do corporates? I never know.
I always tell people, man, I do whatever you need me to do.
Yeah.
What's your budget?
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
I had a couple of customers back then. I had, I was doing events. It was a mixture. I was doing photo booth and I was selling photo booth. And I had a few of them that said, hey, man. And I had some of the events that I had were on a slideshow on the front lobby. And they're like, oh, you guys did the Dodgers? And, and they would ask me, how'd you get that event? And looking back, they were a trend of networks and connections. Like we didn't go directly with the Dodgers administration. We didn't work with anybody at the Dodgers. We actually got the event from State Farm.
Right. It was like one thing led to another.
It was
We were hired
Sure.
by State Farm to do like an external. I think it was outside of I don't know if it wasn't Elliot. It was the Galaxy
Yeah.
soccer, right? We were outside. They were having an event like 1 or 2 days before their big game, and they were having an outdoor event, and they hired our photo booth services, and that's what got us in with Dodgers, and then it kept going from there. And speaking on that aspect, on getting those bigger clients or bigger corporate clients, how did you yourself get your experience into getting your first big one, like the one that you knew, like, all right, this is gonna propel me even further.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were talking about a trend of networks and connections. I mean, really, in full transparency, I mean, that's me. That's what I stand on the shoulders of many, many giants in different industries, right? What I mean to say by that is that over the course of the last years, I've been able to make good relationships. And look, it was a numbers game at the beginning, right? So basically, what I mean by that is when again the Twitters and the Instagrams and all of that was just starting out and social media was this thing, I knew just like everybody else did. Okay, I don't know why, but this is special and amazing and going to be a game changer for business,
Yeah.
social media, right? So what I would do is while I was back to that story about trying to get events thrown at my restaurant, I would reach out to 100 different media personalities, right? People that have some form of audience or platform. I would reach out to 100 and I'd get 20 responses back. And then from those 20, I would get 10 that were warm. And then from there, I would get maybe 5 that were like, yeah, let's do something.
Right. That's interesting.
Right.
Got me in.
And so that took years of doing that at a snail's crawl,
Yeah.
people by people.
But you got to be patient.
But then
that
you get that
dedication.
good relationship, and that good relationship, like with someone that I have on air here in Los Angeles, she opened up a gang of doors for me. Hey, Jonathan, go do this person's party. Hey, Jonathan, go do this person. Hey, I have a friend that's going to be working with Snoop Dogg or whatever it is. See if you can get in through the door. I'm going to give you their number, right? Her graciousness opened all those doors. And then all those doors open up all of their doors and their assistants and their people and their cousins and you get what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So as time goes on, and if you can stick it out, that's the thing is if you
Yeah.
can stick it out, you'll have those good relationships where people want to see you win. They want to see you win. Look, at the end of
They
the day,
honestly do.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I look, trust me, there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of people that are haters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are leeches that want you for your success too.
Yeah.
But overall, and this is also dependent on like who you're trying to associate yourself with, which is another important thing. But like I try to find good-hearted people that want to spread love and light and
Yeah.
positivity, all those good things, right? So for me, I typically get that back, thankfully. I get people that want to help me, support me, and pull me up. And so once they get me up a little bit higher, then I try to show them love and be good to them, give them a discount here and there type of thing.
Right.
But at the same time, I try to give back to them. And then we keep building and we keep building. And
Give
we keep
and take.
building.
Yeah. it's a
So
give and
so
take.
over time, yeah, it's all relationships, it's all networking, and that's why when the 360 came into my world, that was a completely different level of engagement that I can provide for them, right? Because I can take the 360 in any setting, in any
Yeah.
type of place. I can do super formal, super fancy, super high end, or I could do a turn up. You know what I mean? A backyard boogie, or I can
Yeah.
do, you know what I mean? I've done this on yachts. I've had this out by the mountains. Like,
Yeah.
you name it.
Everywhere.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's all about creativity and
But people are the key to so
Definitely.
many different things
That's-
because you got to be able to make that connection with
Yeah.
everybody.
That's one thing I noticed too. Like I've done a few events with you, and I noticed that you're really good at just like taking care of everybody you have a relationship with, and then even people that you're just meeting, you like really getting into detail and in depth with them. I mean, just when I met you, just from asking you like, oh, you got this from from Ken, you're like, yeah, and then like you just bombarded me with questions and
Keyword bombarded.
but like like you're not afraid to go that extra step, like you said, like you try to grab everything you can and just really focus in on trying to build a connection and a bond and see how we could help each other grow, or
I think people just have to be people. They just have to be naturally them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's you. That's you. That's your natural. That's you. That's you got nothing to hide. That's you. You know,
Yeah.
and that's who I am. And I think a lot of the times you find success when you just become you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think at the end of the day, you end up attracting the right people. Right?
Yeah.
You attract the people that are there for you, like you were mentioning earlier, that help you up. And then you help them in return, and then you network from there. I think that's what's important for the viewers that are sometimes just asking, like, how do I get more events? How do I get the big events? How do I get out there? And literally, it just starts by being out there, putting yourself out there.
Well, they're not gonna come
Yeah.
to you.
Right.
No.
Exactly. They're not.
You got to put yourself out there.
You might get one or two that randomly will
Right.
say, "I found you here," or "I typed in something on Google."
Right.
But for the most part,
Yeah.
they're not gonna find you.
No.
Yeah.
But again, we have more tools at our disposal than in any other time in history, right?
Right.
We have, computer in our hands,
Social
Yeah.
media
Facebook,
alone.
social media,
Twitter,
You know how many
Big-
events I've gotten off of just scrolling?
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing this in Ventura. Oh, they're doing this in San Diego. Oh, they're doing this here.
Let me
And
reach
it's like,
out.
Let me reach out and
Yeah.
just see,
Yeah.
And half the time it's like, oh, I've never heard of this, but this is awesome. Let's do it.
I've always told customers, when you put yourself, when you make that leap and you become an entrepreneur, you got to be able to put yourself out there. There's no room for
Yeah.
being shy or being embarrassed or second thinking yourself. You just be you and you put yourself out there. Number one, take advantage of all the free platforms. You got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now TikTok. Just have fun. You know what I mean? And I think that you'll find it so much better when you put yourself out there and you really connect with people. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have a choice. If you are an entrepreneur, you got to put yourself out there and don't be afraid to have haters. Look at it as like me, for instance. I have haters. Shoot, my haters don't even know who I am. And sometimes I'll meet them, right? And they become my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they hate
That's
for
a
the
beautiful thing.
They hate for the wrong reasons, But
Definitely.
I don't talk about that stuff. So for me, it's more like, like there were several instances where I've met a couple of my haters, and they're like, "Oh, so you're Ray? Oh, yeah." And it's weird because they don't know me and I don't know them, and it'd be like our first time meeting each other. But before that, they had a lot of opinions, bad opinions about me, and it's because of whatever it is that they drum up in their mind. It's whatever it is that they hear from somebody who are also feeling the same way. You know what I mean? It's like, for me, it's like a bully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A bully can't be a bully by themselves. They got to find somebody that's going to help them build that confidence to be able to bully that individual, And it's the same thing with me. So you're going to have haters,
Yeah.
right? And I always look at it this way. I remember posting it on my Facebook. Haters, negative stuff, these are all garbage. You don't pick up garbage and keep it in your pocket. You leave it out and it's garbage. You don't
Right.
Move
throw
on
it,
from it.
You
yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. Don't throw it back at them,
Yeah.
because that only just, garbage just flowing. You know what I
Right.
mean? So there's a reason why they call it garbage. It's
Yeah.
all negativity. Leave it on the floor and just move on.
I mean, I
Sure.
think it comes with success. I mean, you're not going to be moving up without a couple people trying to
Yeah.
pull you down for whatever reason they have. I mean, for the most part, we want the world to be kind and loving and all that. But let's face it, it's not always going to be like that.
In
But
the real
it
world,
is what it is.
it
but-
doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Think
if we
of-
could do our best to just leave that be, let them do their thing, and then keep doing you. So you're there to excel yourself and others around you. You know.
Well, that's why I try not even to take too much of the good also, right?
Right.
Like all the love, right?
Right.
All the, you're doing great things and you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's like, cool, but like I can't even sit on that for too long
Yeah.
because if I start letting that go to my head, it takes me in a different direction. Just social media in general, while it's such a powerful tool, I have not a fear of it, but almost a reverence to it now in the sense of like, it's a dangerous tool.
It's a
if you're-
double-edged
Yeah.
sword.
Right.
Definitely.
So
is.
for me, it's like, let's post, let's throw what we need to do, let's engage a little bit, and then get off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was the same
true.
thing. I mean, I remember my guys going, "Oh man, this stuff being said about you," and I always tell my guys, I says, "Look, I'm gonna respond one time, and then that's it. I'll say my piece because it's not a winning battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to show my presence and let people kind of decide on their own. I look at it in this sense, the more you put yourself out there, the more haters you'll have. I don't know anybody in this world. Doesn't matter who it is. I mean, Jesus Christ has haters. You got Antichrist out there.
Mhm.
I mean, that is the most loving name that you can have out there.
Right.
There is no one in this world that can have it all. There's that saying
Sure.
in Burger King.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have it your way.
Have it all your way.
That's
Well,
dangerous.
guess what? This ain't Burger King. The
Some
world.
people will tell you otherwise, but that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's a dangerous line for sure.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that commercial, and they're like, "Have it all your way." I was like, "Nah, man, that is so wrong."
I rebuke.
I rebuke.
I
This ain't
feel-
Burger King. You
I feel
can't
like-
have it all your way.
A lot of times, all these haters come from. I think it's something important that you said. It's they don't want to network because they see other people as competition as opposed to building with them. Like how many times, like you work with someone else that has a 360 and you're like, you know what, all my 360s are booked. Jonathan, could you step in and do this event for me here? It's like we live in a major city, Los Angeles. It's like there's thousands of events on a daily basis.
Yeah.
There's no way, like when people say like this is saturated already, I'm like, I don't know what you mean, because like just today alone there's like so many parties that we're not doing.
There's
you
a
know?
lot of reasons, bro. Like from my experience, some of the reasons are success.
Yeah.
Some of the reasons are why aren't they doing it in the and there's a lot. There's jealousy, envy.
Yeah.
There is just the stuff that you're doing that they're not doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we can't let that get to our heads, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or else that's going to pull you down. That negative energy is just bad
Yeah.
juju. Get that out of there.
Yeah,
Get
no,
it away from
and
me.
bro, that goes further than a 360, man.
For
That's
sure.
business in general.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're doing anything that's, you know, successful somewhat, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna have it. So
But-
it's just like might as well just keep going.
Just-
Because at the end of the day, they're not paying your bills.
Exactly.
Just
They're
keep
not paying your bills.
just keep moving forward. Look at it this way: if you don't put yourself out there, you ain't gonna have a haters.
No one's gonna see you.
But nobody sees you.
Exactly.
So who in this world don't put themselves out there?
Yeah.
People who are dead,
And I think-
are sleeping. They have nobody knows them.
Yeah.
No-
And I think that's important too, is because
100%.
I feel a lot of people, they invest in all this stuff, but they don't put themselves out there. And then they see someone that just has the bare minimum killing it, you know, and then they start building some type of animosity where it's like they feel entitled to that person's hard work.
That
But they're
should have
like,
been me.
yeah, but it's like, all right, man, like I get it. You bought every single product that we sell, and I only have just one platform, but I'm killing it and I'm doing these big activations. I'm working with these big corporate brands. I'm working with these big celebrities, but that's because I put in the legwork. And
Yeah.
those people just feel like I should be doing that. But it's like, well, it doesn't really matter on the product itself. It matters on you and how you
Right.
pitch your service and how you take care of people
That
On-
around you.
On some,
Yeah.
you'll have haters
For
that
sure.
for that particular reason, but I do believe that no matter what you do in life, you're,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna have it, and it's best to just leave that there and just move on
Exactly.
forward. If you can
Yep.
turn them into your friends, and
Even
find
better,
a mutual
right.
ground, that's great. But it's not something that anybody should be paying attention or putting too much
Exactly.
attention to it, because anything that doesn't add any value in your business or in your life,
Should get
it's
left
not
behind,
worth.
yeah.
It's
Right.
not worth
Exactly.
it.
100%.
Well,
I
success-
didn't realize we were getting that deep today.
Oh,
man.
I feel it, man.
Well, success comes with hate, comes with a lot of baggage. But before success, there's some struggles.
There are struggles.
You got to be able to share with us a few struggles that you probably ran into. I mean, every day there's a new struggle, but one of those main ones that you had to get over in order to just keep on keeping on.
I mean, from a practical sense, or from the 360, or how you?
A little bit of both, like getting started in the industry,
Yeah.
getting yourself in there. I mean, what were the main struggles before where you're at now, and then the struggles with the 360 as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think in terms of the actual platform itself, man, talk about struggles. Even the angles, just the first time I ran it,
Right.
Like
That was always something,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that first event that I did, I caught 90% of people's noses, like just up their nose, because I was too low. I had tall people on it. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah.
nah, man. Like and so even when I met Carlos, man, I already had questions for him. What's the difference between landscape and portrait, and blah, 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 basic stuff. Where
Questions
he was
are good.
Where he was probably like, bro, like if you don't know this already, like you might have some trouble. But I hope I convinced you otherwise.
Nah, you're doing good.
But even just getting in the game, like because I was already in the event space, when I brought this on, I had to immediately know how to implement it with impact. There was no time to learn it. You know what I mean? I just had to know it already, because since I had already been a part of my wheelhouse through other vendors and partners and people that have been brought in the past. My people were used to it.
Yeah.
Right. And I had high-end clientele. So when I brought it in, it had to be a seamless transition from partners to my own. And so I had to instantly know how to be able to do it and do it well right away.
Right.
And so, I had to kind of fake it till I made it type of thing. Right. And really, every event got better. So for me, the reps and all of the bugging of Carlos and just, watching YouTube videos.
They're all
and
necessary.
It's
Yeah.
all necessary.
Yeah.
If
Definitely.
you're truly going to be invested in something and spend the money on getting this equipment, like why wouldn't you do that research? Why
practice
wouldn't
and
you
repetition.
educate? I mean, my daughter won't even get on the 360 anymore because like I've made her do it so many times. 'Cause I'm like, babe, I gotta test this. Like, you know, it's just one of those things where I just had to figure it out. And now I'm in a good stride.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of talking to other people. What are you doing? Let me see your
Yeah.
videos. How did they get that to look so good? Type of
Yeah.
thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
How are they
like,
getting a full body shot?
Yeah.
right. And now I'm like, oh, light bulbs are going off. And so now it's becoming a little bit easier because once I fix some fundamental stuff, then I realized, you know, the rest will come into play.
Consistency creates success. I mean, if
Definitely.
you keep consistent, you know, if you're consistent about wanting to learn more and understand more of whether it's a product or how to build your business, you'll reach
Yeah.
a maximum height. You know what I mean? I believe people need to do that. I believe
Yeah.
people need to ask more questions. I do believe that for every event that you do, you got to pass out those cards. You got to be
Yeah.
able to network with other individuals. You know, thinking back on how I got most of my events, whether it's corporates or big weddings or even a political party,
Hmm.
I got most of them on actual events that I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I'm like you, man. You know, we're cut from the same cloth. I'm very talkative with people, and I love trying to understand who the person I should be talking to in order for me to get a leg up.
Right.
So when I'm at that event, I'm very talkative, but I choose who I talk to, and I knew my targets. You know what I mean? I like to go in a party and just go, oh, that's my man.
Right.
There's that person that I want to be
Oh.
rubbing shoulder with. And at the end of the day, they're the one I'm selling. You know, they're the one I'm passing my cards to. They're the ones I am really focused on because they're the one that's really connected, and they're the connections that I want because they have the connections that I need.
Mhm.
You know, so ultimately, I think if people can generally really understand how marketing and advertising works, it's the same thing. You know, we put ads and we have a certain targets. The same thing in your business as a rental. You can't target everybody in your events. You know, you could, I mean, what are you gonna do? Talk to everybody, including the kids, the whole entire
Right.
night? No.
Right.
You want to understand. Number one, you want to understand who hired you, who's
Yeah.
paying you. Number
Yeah.
two, who's important to this individual, who are their caliber.
Right.
Who else? You know what I mean? And I remember we did an event for the mayor in Rosemead, and I had somebody ask me, you know, how we got that event. We got it from another event and another
Sure.
event, and just
Sure.
kind of it's just
Yeah.
all
Sure.
a trickled effect. And upon realizing how I've been getting a lot of these events back then, I realized that it was me. I was looking for targets. Every event, I'm looking for a specific target that I want to rub shoulder with and go, ooh, you got a lot of connections,
Yeah.
especially when they're intoxicated. Bro, the stuff that they say.
Yeah, well,
just,
that's a whole different thing.
I
Man.
love that.
Talk about you know, landing some deals, man. Yeah,
I love
I
that.
get it when, you know, little drinks start flowing. It's a
Oh,
little
yeah.
different, you know.
You know,
And it also gets them on the 360 faster.
bro, it's the best way to get an event. And
Sure.
I know a few people that doesn't pass out cards on their events,
Yeah.
and that baffles me.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
Yeah.
That's a free advertising, free
Yeah.
marketing.
Sure.
You're
You're
actually
You're already
gonna,
there too.
yeah, you're gonna get
Yeah.
people that's gonna represent you and talk to you. So imagine having 100 of those people talking about you. If you can just connect to them in such a way where you can create them to become your sales rep.
Well, I think it's about finding the way to do that, right? So
Right.
that, you know, for me, in certain situations, a business card actually doesn't make sense, right? Because half the people are going to toss that thing or leave it on
That's
their dresser,
true.
you know, anyways, right? So for me, I'm trying to go further than that, right? I'm trying to actually get your contact in my phone, or I'm trying to be connected on Instagram, whatever it is, something that's a digital footprint, so that as you sober up the next day, I'm ready to. Be
I
like,
do that
hey,
now, but back
Yeah.
then, yeah, I used to use
Yeah.
business card, but now I don't have business cards. I don't carry business cards. When I meet somebody that's important or somebody I want to dig into,
Mm.
I call them on their cell and say, "What's your number?" And I'll ring them up,
Sure.
you know. And then the minute they pick up, I text them and go, "Hey, it's Ray.
Right.
You know, just want to make sure you got my
Right,
contact."
right.
And I better believe it, when I get home, I'm saying something funny with them.
Sure.
You know, because it's my way of saying, "Hey, don't forget me." You know
Of
what I
course,
mean?
Of course.
And the next day, I'm still connected, and I stay connected until I get what I want.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, you're saying that all of that with a smile on your face because clearly it's a joy to you.
Yeah.
Even just the process of acquiring clients, right? It's the same thing for me. Look, man, you know, there's the high-end clients, but there are times where respectfully it makes sense to come in as a potential sponsor or a partner of some kind in
Yeah.
a sense. But that's really careful because you got to figure out how to do it, because to someone that might be listening, they might hear it as just give away your stuff for free. Not at all. That's not even close to what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you've already thought through the proper strategy and you've vetted it to yourself, and you've and quite honestly, share it with someone, get some wise counsel. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm thinking of partnering with this project, but I'm not gonna get paid on it, but it's a sponsor, and I think that I'm gonna meet these people. If they think it's gonna be a great idea, go for it. You know what I mean? But it's about going there with the intention of like, all right, if I'm gonna come in as a sponsor, let's say, I need to have other deliverables to myself. Can I meet the main people in charge? Who can I meet? Can I get whatever potential celebrities or whatever they are to do the 360? Like, how can I maximize the
that
value?
sponsorship.
Right.
Like,
you know what I
better
mean?
believe you're not there for free.
Yeah.
Correct.
You're gonna find
There
you're
are
gonna
different
wiggle your
ways
way
to
in.
charge.
Exactly.
There are different
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
There's always reasons why you would do something, like for free. Like for me, I do remember doing an event for free, and the way I did it was I was actually at a bridal. It was a bridal expo. No, it was an expo, and I had everybody's business card dump in that little jar, and I said, hey, you're gonna get a free 2-hour event.
Right.
And it's supposed to be a raffle, but at the end of the night, I went there and started looking at those cards, wanted to see where I wanted to be.
Correct.
And it just so happened that Google was there. And I says, Google, you're the winner.
Yeah.
And that was for free,
Sure.
but it was only 2 hours. I knew that it was going to expand to at least 4 hours. And I told them that my rate was $2,000 an hour. And there's ways you can maneuver this and really
Yeah.
make money. But at the end of the day, I knew what I was going after, and I wanted to be at that event no matter what. As far as they're concerned, it's 2 hours for free. It's costing them nothing for me to be there. And yeah, I got to meet people in there that brought me to Amazon. I got to meet people that was in that specific event. And that, that was a different type of creativity in terms of marketing and advertising. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, I mean, but that's you thinking of your business on a bigger scale.
Right.
That's you thinking of the bigger picture. And, sometimes if you're desperate for money, or if if your drive is something completely different, then you might not think like that.
Yeah.
You might not have any desire
Yeah.
to operate like that. And you know what? That's okay if that's not you.
My mindset during that time was, I'm done doing birthdays and quinceañeras.
Sure.
And it was just, I got to a point where it was really tiring. And I just go, man, I want something big. So,
Yeah.
I started, I hate to admit this, I started envying. I was jealous of a lot of the people who were doing, 10,000, 15 grand, 20 grand worth of events. And that's a drug. That's a whole different drug. Once you get the first one, you're like, I want the bigger one, the bigger
Sure.
one. But
Yeah.
there's a saying also that be careful for what you ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna stumble into those events where it's just
different challenges.
It's a different
Yeah,
struggle.
Different challenges, different problems, different hurdles. But so you gotta know what you gotta know what you want, what your
Yeah.
end goal is. You gotta understand, like, see the full plan.
But
Because
I think creativity comes in so many different ways depending on what your goals are. Like you, for instance, your business is scaling because of your creativity, but I think those creativity comes out when there is a certain directions that you want in your business, and you try to achieve those goals. You know what I mean? Like for me, if I didn't have that type of goal, I probably wouldn't be doing the things that I was doing.
yeah,
I'd probably just be focusing on birthdays and weddings. I'll have my stuff in Yelp, and I'd be like, yeah, this is nuts. I can't keep doing this. You know what I mean? For me, it was always like, if I made X amount of dollars this month, if I made, 40 or 50 grand this month, how do I get that to 100?
right.
So it's always trying to understand, what else can I be doing? What are other people doing
Yeah.
that's making them money? And I can't say, oh, it's different. They have like multi-million-dollar equipment. That's why they're making that money. Well, guess what? I want those. I'll get there.
Bro, you're talking to someone that spins a manual, bro. Shout out to my manual users out there. But here's the thing, like, to me, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Automatic manual, whatever it is, like, that's not the point, right? Because I'm there.
It's the people.
Or it's the people that I'm sending out on my behalf that I know are going to deliver a world-class experience. It doesn't matter what the thing cost me, right? I'm delivering the experience.
It's the people. People buy people. Again, I'm going to keep reflecting back to what I was doing because it's the only way for me to justify it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I remember getting beat up on an event. It was a nice wedding event. I was charging $1,700. This guy charged actually more. So I thought that he had a better equipment than I did. Man, he had a table and a monitor and a tripod camera. I had modern photo booth,
Yeah.
and they went with him. And but after I met this guy, that's when I realized, damn, I was going about it all wrong.
Yeah.
People buy people,
Right.
and this guy was so. Yeah, I mean, he'll move you.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's people like that that can just really sell themselves.
There are many spaces that I walk into. There are many experiences that I get to experience that are out of my tax bracket or out of my financial means. But by the grace of God, like he's given me a platform to be able to do what I do,
Yeah.
and that is to connect, right? So and again, this thing is just another way to do that,
Yeah.
right? People hire me because they're hiring me. I'm building a personal brand that will delve into other areas and become its own brand in and of
The
itself.
experience more
Yeah.
than the product.
But on the initial, the first brand that I want you to be aware of and fall in love with is my personal brand, because that's what I've been working on. I'm trying to be the best version of myself and then have that translated in my businesses and in my activations and whatever it is.
You have
Right.
to. You are what represents your business.
Yeah.
And you have to build that, and you have to be willing to scale from that. Like for me, I learn from people. I tell myself every time, like if I knew what I knew now from a year ago, shit, man, I'd be much richer than. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
I feel that way about this, man. I,
mean-
wish I had this 5 years ago.
If we could just give ourselves advice, right, from
Come on.
from the future, that'd be awesome. Right?
Yeah.
But I
That'd be
mean,
ideal.
speaking of on that kind of advice, what would you give advice to people that are starting, or rather, not starting, already in the event industry, like us, renting, doing services, doing activations? What kind of advice can you give them to propel themselves further?
Well, I don't know, man. I think we've been talking about it already
Right.
in many ways. I think at the end of the day, realize your race is your race.
Right.
So Carlos, you said earlier, we're talking about LA here. Vegas is huge too, but there's so much
Yeah.
of the pie to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Plenty to go around for sure.
right, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like our success isn't gonna be identical either.
Exactly.
Right? What you define as success is different from what I define as success.
Yeah.
My definition of success is what I have now, which is I work on the weekends, and come Monday, when everybody has a case of the Mondays, I fire off a few emails to get ahead of the next weekend. But for the most part, I'm asking my girls, we go to the beach today, we go to the park today, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That
Because
freedom that you created for
Yeah.
yourself, that's success in itself.
that's
Yeah.
my success.
Yeah.
Right? Now, do I live in some of the homes I get to go and spin the camera in? No, not even close to it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm tucked in, Alhambra and San Gabriel area, and but you know what? I love it. That's the area
Yeah.
we're happy in.
Right.
That's happiness for me is success.
Right.
Yes.
Freedom is success.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
Those
not
type
always
of
the big
things.
house or the big
Yeah.
car.
It's
So-
different for
it's always-
everybody.
So my
Success is
race,
different. Yeah.
my race is defined by the success that I have that's brought to me by my family, the freedom that I have, and so on and so forth, right?
That's priceless, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me it is,
Yeah.
right? But I understand there's some people that want to stack some bills, they
Yeah.
want to make some
They
money.
want the
And I get that too.
Lamborghini,
And
they
don't get me wrong, like I want to make money, I want to
Right.
make more money, right?
But it's not all about that.
But it's not
Yeah.
about
Right.
that, right? I'm
Yeah.
trying to enjoy what I gotta do, because if I'm
Exactly.
gonna be working hard, and I bust my butt, man, if I'm gonna be working hard, then I want to be doing what I love. I want to be enjoying people. I want to be enjoying life and experiences and all of that. And this has been just one other thing to be able to open those doors for me. So what I would say to people that are just starting out or in the event space or trying to look at this is just a couple of things. Like, for one, understand your race is your race, right?
Right.
Like, figure out what you want, figure out
Yeah.
what drives you, because then that'll determine things on the bigger scale of like
Definitely.
whether I'm happy of my investment, and it'll help you with your decisions on, do I take that deal or not? Do I take that
Yeah.
that event or not? Is this in alignment with my goals?
Right.
And if it isn't, then what did we say earlier? Nix it, right?
Right.
Get away from it. But if it does, then all you're doing is adding to what's getting you towards your goal and success, right? So I would say first thing is like, understand your race is your race. The other thing is go all in, like go all in completely. Like we talked earlier, if you're gonna try something, learn about it, understand it, enjoy it, love it, like treat it well, respect it. Because if you do that, my opinion, you're gonna get that back. You're gonna get, the outcome that you're desiring.
Right.
So just be real, man. Just go after it, in whatever way that might look like for someone. But for me, it's all the things that we've been talking about resonates with me, because I've had to come up without the money. I've had to come up without, someone investing or
without the capital. You're your own capital.
Bootstrapping everything, man.
You invested in yourself.
I've had to show up places knowing I look ghetto as hell, but I go in with the confidence, and I go in with the boldness, and what's up, bro, and let's do this, and let's have a good time.
You have to.
And then but little by little,
Right.
You start stacking,
excelled yourself.
Right.
Excelled your business.
But don't worry about what else someone else, because if they show up with the 16 lights and they have the light up this and all of that stuff, and all of that is great, and I love it. But I haven't had the means to do that yet.
Right.
So I'm going a different route.
And that's okay. Yeah, for sure.
My money is in my mouth, right?
Yeah.
Like my conversation and my connection with people. And that's so for me, again, it all goes back to just understanding what I want, who I am, how I'm going to get there. But it all starts with like not looking at what you're doing or what you're doing or what
that's
anybody
important.
else is doing. Like just do you, bro.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you.
important.
Yeah.
You have to have directions. A lot of people don't. A lot of people run by, they operate their business. You know what? Come to think of it, even their life on envy, on jealous, and they see other people doing it and they want to do it without the proper directions. They don't have any idea on how they're going to execute it. They just know that they want something that you have, and I've been there and I know what it's like.
Sure.
I know what it's like to envy and to be jealous of something without proper directions. And I know how it feels and how much it hurts to not have it, So for me, it's more like a lot has to do with questions. I question a lot about people, and whether it's an event that I'm doing or a business that I'm trying to get, it's all comprised of questions that will provide me the answers that I need in order for me to get that.
Right.
So for me, my advice for people who are just starting their business is don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to ask the questions that you need to ask. It's the only way for you to get the answer.
Yeah.
The only time you're going to fail is if you don't ask the goddamn question. You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people make an assumption and it's so crazy because assumptions are created when you don't ask the proper questions.
Well, it's like when you're driving and if you're about to make a turn and you hesitate, sometimes that's more dangerous
Right.
than actually just going.
Hesitating on its own.
Right. Hesitation is dangerous,
Yeah.
And so if you dip your toe in the water here and then you all of a sudden get scared or you're shy or you're afraid to put out your numbers that you actually want, then you show up at an event and you're pissed off at the event because you didn't actually charge what you should have, like what you could have told them. Right. So because you hesitated, you felt maybe they're not gonna have it, or maybe they're not gonna want it, or well, you can't be scared, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta go.
My best way of learning, even when I was in high school, was asking questions. And sometimes I do have a tendency to ask stupid questions. And these stupid questions help me to remember those answers. And when I was in high school, I used to ask a lot of stupid. I'm that kid in that class who is probably annoying the hell out of you because I ask stupid questions. But the truth is, I don't want to do my homework. I don't want to study. And in order for me to understand and get the answer is I have to ask stupid questions that's going to make me laugh and it's going to make me remember what it is. And you know what? I'm that student who doesn't really study. And I do a decent grade on my test because of those stupid questions.
Well, it works. It works in different ways for others, for sure. And I think, that while that may
graceful.
work, I mean, it works in different ways
Yeah,
for
definitely.
everybody. I mean, it goes to show. I want to put more importance on what Jonathan was saying. Your race is your race. Definitely, that's an awesome advice.
Yeah.
Like if you're just starting, or you're already thinking you're successful, or you're already at a point that you think that your business is good, keep going.
Yeah.
Right. The advice is, one success is not going to be your success. Whether you get there quicker than the other, or whether you get there slower than the other, it's fine as long as you stay consistent. Putting yourself out there, the importance in repetition and practice.
Yeah.
Make sure you perfect your craft, and I think all in all will just start falling into places once you keep that going. We'll get that attitude to just go get it. for sure.
Yeah, don't worry about nobody else, man. Until they start paying your bills,
Right.
don't worry about nobody else.
100%.
Seriously.
I agree. What about you, Carlos?
What
What do you?
what would
what
I
would you-
suggest? I would say just yeah, don't be intimidated by what you feel you lack. Because you have a lot more than what you lack in. It's just a lot of people focus more on what they lack than what they have. So then they're not able to get farther because they're so focused on, like, this podcast, for example. We could have just been like postponing it because we didn't have the lights, or we're not gonna do it because we don't have the TV set up right. But we're like, we're just gonna keep
Let's just do
going,
it.
and as it goes, we're just gonna progress and get better and get better. That's the only way to get better, just to start now. Because I mean, there's never a better time to start than now.
Yeah.
Right.
No more procrastinating.
There's
Yeah.
excuses for everything if you
Yeah.
are not willing or you don't
Yeah.
want it bad enough.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm like, I can tell you right now, I'll give you this money and you'll come up with an excuse not to get it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like there's excuses for everything.
Sure.
My dad used to
Definitely.
say, excuses, like bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah,
It is when you think about it. I mean, if you really want it, you'll find a way to get
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
You'll make a way. You'll adapt, and you'll find ways to get what you want.
Well, and there'll be someone that's hungry,
Yeah.
ready to get it behind you.
Right.
So just know that.
Exactly.
Just apply the Nike concept
And
and
just
just
do it.
Yeah.
do it.
Just do it, man.
Yeah.
Just do it. Get out there. What
Yeah.
you got to lose?
And you have nothing to lose, but so much to gain.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
life is all about risks and rewards. And when you think about it, there's so much more reward when you put yourself out there.
Well, and
Yeah.
in the day and age that we live in, I mean, there's so much transition in the world. There's so much change in the world, right? So to me, that's actually leveled the playing field on your creativity and your ability to get money,
Yeah.
right? Because there are different and more unique and non-traditional
Yeah.
ways to get money,
Yeah.
right? Than ever before.
And
Yeah.
and for me, learn to use your advantage.
Definitely agree with
You know
that.
what I mean? Learn to use your advantage. By that, what I mean is, I don't know if I should say it, but I'm just gonna say it. Look, if like for me, I'm Filipino. I know what my kind wants. That's my advantage.
Sure.
You're Hispanic. You
Sure.
know, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, dude, Filipinos love to throw parties, man. Their first kid grows a teeth, and they're like, "Hey, he just had a teeth. Let's have a party." You know what I mean?
I hear you.
There's always an occasion.
There's always an occasion. So I
Yeah.
know how to take advantage of
Yeah.
situations like that. It's different for everybody, but you got to know your advantage. If you're a man, you're a female.
There's different ways
there's-
around for sure. You can
Yeah.
you can grab those anything that's advantageous towards you and freaking apply pressure on that, and then make it work for you.
There's
Whatever
no-
that is.
There's,
Well,
there's
and-
no law against it.
And pay attention also to what you don't want, though, right?
Yeah.
Because on the other side of it, man, I've learned, and I think I've learned the hard way, not just even with the 360, but just in general, my business overall is I've done enough events where I realize, oh, okay, I'm not doing this type of stuff again.
You got to
Yeah.
know your limitations.
Or I don't want to go in these spaces, or
Yeah.
being in these type of places make me feel a type of way, or whatever. And so for me, it's just
Right.
a matter of like also understanding what I won't
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
You know, and that also contributes to the happiness of
Exactly.
my,
You can't win them all.
Right.
You know, I do events, and if it's a friend or a family event, I charge them.
Mhm.
You know, I
Yeah.
figured I'm gonna be at that event anyways. I'm invited. If I don't go, I'm an asshole. You know what I mean? So I have
Sure.
to go.
Sure.
But I don't want to go if I'm not gonna get paid. It's one of those situations where like
Make it
come
work for
on,
yourself.
The struggle.
Sure.
But I certainly don't want them to go to Craigslist and find someone else to.
Oh, trust me, bro. There's been man, I've bartered. Man, I'm about to actually. I'm 2 weeks away from staying at a luxurious hotel, because of the fact that on a last minute call they were like, "Hey, we're so sorry. We're only giving you 24 hours, but can we do, can you do our company holiday party?" type
Oh,
of thing,
dope.
right? And so I was like, well, I don't know. Like, well, I had another thing going on that same morning, and I was going to have to do flips. In fact, shout out Ken and Pia. They helped me out to find covers for this event. This was last year. And because it was last minute, they said, we'll sweeten the deal. We'll throw in a stay. I'm thinking they're going to give me like a standard room one night type of thing. No, they gave me 2 nights in the suite.
Yeah,
like,
that's
Oh,
dope.
nice.
breakfast and the whole thing. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, I've bartered for it for sure.
Yeah, those are stuff that we gotta appreciate in life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, it's always like Christmas. You know?
I value it for
Yeah.
sure.
That's the advantage we have
surprise.
in the space we're in. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Comes with a lot of perks for sure.
Well, and that's the
Yeah.
beauty of doing this versus, let's say, running a food truck or whatever it
Right.
might be, in the sense of that, like, a lot of these are fixed costs. Like once you buy the thing, you're set for a little while until you need to get replacements or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Every time I go do a food truck run or whatever it might be, then I have to buy product, I have to buy food, cooking, all of that.
It's
Right?
a lot of
Yeah.
preparation.
There's smarter margins in this
Yeah.
business.
It's scalable. It's much more scalable.
Mhm.
You know.
And so really the what like one of your bigger expenses is more so just the time, more the time than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Oh dang, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think we got deep on this. I
Yeah,
like
that
it.
was good.
No,
That
that
I
was
wasn't
good.
expecting.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
This is the best.
I feel like it was
Yeah.
very informative, and like people could really get a lot of information from
Yeah,
this.
Well,
episode.
look, man. Let me share this one last thing. I was at an event recently, and huge event. There, I would say 20 to 25,000 people in attendance, and there, everyone's drinking different, all kinds of different stuff. There was a particular set of girls that came. They were standing in line, and we thought both of them were going to get on the platform, and only one of them did. And the other one was very, very shy. You can see that just from the second she even walked up. And we kept trying to convince her to get on, join your friend.
Yeah,
don't let her do it solo, that type of thing. And she was super shy, and she didn't want to do it. But I have a girl that I take sometimes to events, and she's hype woman, right? She's she'll get anybody to get on.
She's
There's
the girl.
grandmas and men that are like, no, that's stupid, or those type of thing. Like she'll get anybody on there, and she tried to give her some encouragement. No, the entire day went by. This was like a long day. This was like a 7-hour event type of thing, and the last 30 minutes of the event, we see the two girls again, and we're thinking that the one girl's gonna come back and do another one. No, this time the girl that wouldn't get on
The shy one.
got on, and she did it solo. And she was super excited getting off of it. She saw the video, was like, "Oh my God, I look so good! Like, thank you so much." And she like literally took the time to thank personally my
Wow.
partner, because she made her feel
Comfortable about it.
comfortable about it. And so that was a great moment. They even hugged, and she went about her way. And what I told my partner was, even in a space where there's 20,000 people, 80% of them are buzzed, they're drunk. Even in a space like that,
Yeah.
you can encourage someone.
Yeah.
You can bring joy to them. You can bring light to them, which is the whole purpose of my business. Be the light. Be the light wherever you go. Be a light in that space. And she was doing that. And so what I find really cool is things like this platform and this type of business allows you opportunities to do that. Again, whether it's an emotional time like a wedding night,
Mhm.
or something like, we were at the Del Mar racetrack. There was people betting and gambling
Right.
and drinking and all kinds of sins going on there. But you know what I mean? Like, they were having a good time with it.
Yeah.
But this girl, I saw that there was something that shifted in her.
Yeah.
That because the joy that little spin did, and the cute little video that got her that now she's gonna feel confident posting on her gram, looking cute,
Yeah.
those type of things. She's gonna be happy about, and it's all because of that little experience.
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
good when you do something like that.
It's all
I
about
remember
the
this.
experience for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dang,
It's about putting them first.
That's,
Putting your customers first.
that's priceless in itself for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Once again, thanks guys for joining in and tuning in. I want to give a quick shout out to Jonathan here for joining in this week's episode. Be on the lookout for this once we upload it. I'll put his Instagram and social media links in the description down below. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to comment down below. Again, my name is John.
I'm Ray.
I'm Carlos.
And Jonathan, once again, thanks you guys for tuning in.
Oh, really quick. Speaking of networking, if you guys are looking for ways to network and find connections, grow your business, Event Industry Expo. It's coming up in 2023 in June, 5 and 7.
Right. It'll be a good opportunity for anybody and everybody in the event industry, whether you're a DJ, photo boother, 360 spinner, caterer, anybody and everybody in that space and anything in between. Everybody's going to be there. So be on the lookout for that next year in June, early June, June 5, 6, 7, if I'm not mistaken, at South Point Hotel in Las Vegas. That's going to be the next big expo that we're going to be hosting as well. And, it's going to be something to look forward to.
we're always talking about networking. I think this is the best place to network because there's gonna be a lot of people that are photo booth owners there from different places,
Yeah.
different states. So when you really think about it, they don't care. They'll open up. They'll tell you what's working for them and what's not working for them. And I really believe that that it's the best way to unplug and network with individuals because it's pretty raw. You know, they're not gonna
Yeah.
feel like you're a competition to them because you're in a different state. It's the best
Country
place,
even.
huh?
Sometimes even in a different country.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys find some time to show up to Vegas. Then we'll see if we can encourage Jonathan here to show up over there. That'd be great for you guys all to meet him. And we're gonna be some fun stuff there during that expo.
And we'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you guys in the next one.
Hey.
See ya.